our viewers on YouTube who are watching today. And I understand there'll be some members of the media watching as well. And Councillor McDougall is unable to be with us today because of a family commitment. And so all other councillors are present, and our CAO and our Director of Finance and our Director of Economic Development. And Brian Harlick is here on the controls. And we have, I believe we have one of our planning board members with us today, Natalie. Welcome. Okay, we'll continue on. And is there a motion to approve the agenda? Moved by Councillor Snow and seconded by Councillor Duran. All in favour? Contrary nay? Carried. Thank you very much. Any conflict of interest to declare? I do not see any at this point. Is there a motion to approve the monthly council meeting minutes of July 20, 2020, and the approval of the special council meeting minutes of July 21st, 2020, and August 4, 2020? Moved by Councillor Adams and seconded by Councillor or Deputy Mayor McCollum. Any questions? All in favour say aye. Contrary nay? Carried. Correspondence. The correspondence for me is mostly invitations and those kinds of things, and a few letters that went out to members of council, and a lot of phone calls. So I think what I'll start doing now after today is the calls I get regarding requests for, like there's one with a gentleman in Wilmot has a problem with his lot being serviced and those kinds of things. So rather than just talk about it in here, I think I'll start listing those things under correspondence when somebody complains about something or brings something to our attention. Financial Services, Deputy Mayor McCollum, you have the Financial Services report.
I'd like to acknowledge that the financial report has been prepared by Director Kristen Dunsford. And good afternoon to you, Your Worship, and my colleagues on council and the residents of the City of Summerside. Our year-end audit has just begun, and we are on target to meet our deadlines as scheduled by the Government of Prince Edward Island. In the next couple of weeks, we will be setting our annual meeting date, likely to be held in early to mid-October. And of course, that would be related to the COVID pandemic, just causing some of the delays, but we're on target. My report today includes our preliminary financial results as of June 30th, 2020. These first quarter preliminary results show a deficit of $450,000, which is not unexpected due to expectations of the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on operations. We will be reviewing these results with individual departments to determine options available to mitigate against the loss of revenue and increase in costs. We would like to take this time to remind utility customers of the COVID-19 Utility Customer Support Program that was announced at the July Council meeting. This program allows those who are eligible the ability to pay their outstanding balance with equal monthly installments over a 12-month period starting October 1st, 2020. Commercial and residential utility customers with outstanding balances who may be eligible for this program are strongly encouraged to apply. You will still be required to pay all amounts owing for utility services provided. Submissions will be accepted until Tuesday, September the 15th. The following options are available to submit an application form. You can apply through the City of Summerside website, www.summerside.ca. See the top right-hand corner for COVID-19 updates and information, and a link to the online form can be found there. Email customerservice@summerside.ca, that's all lowercase all together, or call 902-432-5700. 1230 to request an application form. You can complete and drop off the application form that will be going out in your next utility bill, so be watching for that. Request the application form at the front desk in City Hall during normal business hours, 8:30 to 4 p.m., Monday through Friday. Those customers who have outstanding balances and do not apply for this program will be subject to our collection process, which may include disconnection for non-payment. We would like to clarify some information that was provided earlier by the city in relation to amounts owing by utility customers. The figure of 1.8 million was the total owing by utility customers, with significant portion of that not yet being due. In other words, the customer was current and the amount was billed but not yet due for payment. As of the end of July 2020, the overdue utility balances totaled approximately $335,200. Most of this balance is for the amounts that are between 1 and 90 days overdue. Of the $335,200 overdue balance, approximately $65,400 is in the 180 plus days category. This figure is made up from 4 commercial accounts and 33 residential accounts. Payment arrangements have been made for the commercial accounts and some of the residential accounts. As collection measures had been suspended due to the COVID-19 pandemic, staff have been making attempts to contact the rest of the residential customers by phone to have payment plans developed and will continue to reach out to them. Council, through the Finance Committee, has requested that regular updates be made by staff regarding utility customers that are significantly in arrears. Thank you for the opportunity to present this report on behalf of the Financial Department and Finance Committee, and either myself or our Chief Financial Officer are available to take any questions. As well, in each council member's package, there is information which gives you a summary of capital expenditures as of June 30th, and if you have any questions, certainly feel free to ask them. One other point that I would like to make, your worship and colleagues, is that I did receive a email from downtown Summerside from Angie Arsenault, who is the executive director, and she just wanted to make the public aware that the pods that they now see in the downtown area, they are available to use by anyone. They do not belong to a specific restaurant or food truck. They can be used by anyone. We simply place them near local restaurants to help out business as a result of COVID-19 and seating and safe distancing. But if anyone would like to pack a picnic or use them, please feel free to do so. And she just wanted to make sure that the public was aware. And that concludes my report, Your Worship.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor McCollum. Any questions for the Chair of Finance? I do not see any question lights on. We'll continue on. Councillor Justin Drawn, you have the Tech Services report?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Your Worship, and good afternoon, everyone. I'll dig right in here for Tech Services for August 17th. Numerous 2020 capital projects are in progress, with water main replacement on Notre Dame Street nearing completion, and they will be moving to Highland Avenue. The Eco Park Phase 1 and Phase 2 just had the base asphalt placed this week, so nearing completion there as well. Boardwalk replacement is also close to completion for this year. Paving and sidewalk are continuing. The infill project is due to start in a couple weeks. Work has begun on the storm line replacement project on the lower end of Granville, and this project will continue for a couple months. We continue to update our section of the city's webpage to follow along with the locations and status of these major projects. Staff continues to review and assist the public with pending developments and building permits. A number of new developments have started. 10-lot combination of row housing and apartments off of McEwen Road, 40-lot single and semi-detached development off of Water Street East, 9-lot subdivision off of Spruce Drive, as well as 11-lot subdivision off of Bernard and Acadian has been approved. Our office is still encouraging people to continue to send in your information electronically, as they have been doing, and if you need to see someone, please call ahead for an appointment to ensure you're able to meet with somebody. We will continue reviewing all information submitted and respond back to these submissions if any additional information may be required for their permits. 57 building permits with a total value of $2.8 million were issued for the month of July. We issued 1 semi-detached, 7 single-family, 7 residential renovations or additions, and then 20 for accessory buildings, fences, and decks, and also another 7 for commercial and institutional renovations. Staff have continued to work with developers and citizens in order to complete inspections on their existing projects. Several developers are still reaching out to staff for assistance with their proposed projects for 2020 and 2021. Staff will continue to work with these developers to bring these developments to the permit stage. Citizens are also encouraged to ask for assistance with their projects that they may have planned for 2020. And thanks very much to Aaron McDonald, Director of Tech Services, for preparing that. And if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer away. Councillor Campbell.
Councillor Campbell, broken record here. Just wondering if there's any new information on the Central Pope Road Extension project. I know they've been working hard at it. So.
Yeah, no, as of as recent as last week, Director Aaron has been meeting with residents and business owners, anyone that owns property up there, really just to meet with them and discuss what the project may look like. I think he had 2 or 3 to go out of 7, 8, or 9. I think he's out this week, but those final meetings are likely to take place as soon as he's back, if they didn't happen already, but I'm sure he'll let me know as soon as he's back in the office.
Councillor Snow?
More so, just a comment. I actually received a call from one of the residents up there and went and met with them. They asked if I would and did, and they obviously expressed some concerns with maybe some of the initial drawings they're seeing, just regarding maybe driveways and stuff. So I think he was still waiting to have those final conversations with Aaron, but I did tell him that I would bring up his concern and make sure that it was noted. The other thing, this past week I received several calls from residents on the Cedar Street area. We're doing some significant work there, and there's a project going on there that's really dragging out longer than probably maybe expected, and they're having some issues, but there's a lot of dust and stuff like that, and they're really concerned with it and how long it's been dragging on. So again, I said I would bring their concern forward, and I have, and I spoke to CEO Rob and Tech Services, and they're making sure that they're taken care of, but I just want to sort of make sure that it was publicly noted. So
good, glad you did. That's great. No, appreciate that. And now some of the people maybe that didn't contact you might be watching or listening, and now they know without even asking what might be going on, or that it's at least being taken care of. And as for the driveways and such up on Pope and Central, depending on what property it is, we are certainly planning on aligning driveways correctly and actually making most of them better. A couple of them up there on where the S turn is kind of come out like Robinson. We're going to be squaring those off and making it a lot easier for people to get in and out. So
in the preliminary plans, I did notice too, Justin, that there is sidewalks on both sides of the streets, which is a real concern up there.
Yeah, you'll be able now, of course, to take the sidewalk where it's existing on Pope, and it's routed throughout the intersection there, or the proposed intersection, and it'll go all the way to Granville, so you can now walk from South Drive all the way to Hewin, basically. Yeah, you're good. So yeah. And I guess if there's nothing else, I'll hand it back over to His Worship.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Councillor. Okay, we'll continue on with the agenda. I believe Councillor Brian McFeely, you have Planning Board and a couple of resolutions at this point.
I do, Your Worship.
The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you very much, Your Worship, and we'll get right to the resolutions. Planning Board. The first resolution is Resolution COS 20-079. Moved by myself, Councillor Brian McFeely, seconded by Councillor Barb Ramsey. Whereas an application was received from McDuff Holding, Inc. for a zoning amendment for a portion of PID number 1102318 from low-density mixed residential R2 zone to high-density residential R4 zone under the City of Summerside zoning bylaw. And whereas zoning bylaw amendment 228, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, was read and declared as read the first time at the council meeting on July 21st, 2020. And whereas in accordance with section 5.7 of the zoning bylaw, council shall consider the following general criteria as applicable: conformity with all requirements of this bylaw, conformity with the official plan, suitability of the site for the proposed development, compatibility of the proposed development with surrounding land uses, including both existing and projected uses, any comments from residents or other interested persons, adequacy of existing water, sewer, road, stormwater, and electrical services, city park and parklands for accommodating the development and any projected infrastructure requirements, impacts from the development on pedestrian, vehicular access and safety, and on public safety generally, compatibility of the development with environmental, scenic, and heritage resources, impacts on the city's finances and budgets, other matters as specified in this bylaw, and other matters as considered relevant. Be it resolved that zoning amendment 228, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, be hereby declared as read a second time, and this bears the recommendation of Planning Board meeting on August 4th, 2020, Your Worship.
Moved by Councillor Brian
And
McFeely.
I'll read, Your Worship, I should read
Oh, yes.
Schedule B into the record.
Right.
The zoning amendment 228, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw. The Council of the City of Summerside, under authority vested in it in Section 18 and 19 of the Planning Act, RSPEI 1988, Cap P-8, hereby enacts as follows. The zoning for a portion of PID number 1102318, shown on Schedule B of the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, is designated as high-density R4 zone, hereby excluding it from its former designation of low-density mixed residential R2 zone. And there's a map attached there showing the subject property, Your Worship.
Moved by Councillor Brian McFeely and seconded by Councillor Ramsey. Any questions on the resolution? All in favour say aye. Aye. Contrary nay. Carried.
And the next resolution, Your Worship, is COS 20-080, moved by myself, Councillor McFeely, seconded by Councillor Barb Ramsey. Whereas an application was received from McDuff Holding, Inc. for a zoning amendment for a portion of PID number 1102318 from low-density mixed residential R2 zone to high-density residential R4 zone under the City of Summerside zoning bylaw. And whereas zoning bylaw amendment 228, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, was read and declared as read at two separate meetings of council held on different days, be it resolved that zoning bylaw amendment 228, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, be hereby formally adopted.
Moved by Councillor McFeely and seconded by Councillor Ramsey. Any questions? All in favour say aye. Aye. Contrary nay. Carried.
Continuing on, Your Worship.
Yes.
Resolution COS 20-083, moved by myself, Councillor McFeely, seconded by Councillor Barb Ramsey. Whereas an application was initiated by the City of Summerside for demolition of 12 Summer Street, the Regent Building, PID number 309694. And whereas under section 22.15 of the zoning bylaw, when a building permit with the intent for demolition is received regarding buildings in downtown District 1 zone or in downtown District 4 zone, the Heritage Planning Board and Council shall review the applications. And whereas under section 3.3 of the Heritage Conservation Bylaw and Heritage Planning Board, the Heritage Planning Board shall make a recommendation to Council on heritage conservation issues. Be resolved that the building permit application for demolition of 12 Summer Street, the Regent Building, PID number 309694, be recommended to be approved by Council. and this bears the recommendation of the Heritage Planning Board meeting on August 4th, Your Worship.
Moved by Councillor McFeely and seconded by Councillor Ramsey. Any questions on the resolution?
Just a comment, perhaps,
Go
Your
ahead.
Worship. The Heritage Planning Board met, and due process has been followed. Heritage Planning Board has met, and want to welcome Natalie Hashi here, who's one of the citizen reps on Heritage Planning Board, and really value the input, Natalie's input, and other citizen members of Planning Board into this process, and want to assure the public that the process is being followed appropriately, and the other resolutions that are coming forth will sort of define how we move forward. So, thank you.
Thank you. So, moved by Councillor McFeely. And did we vote on that one? Didn't vote. All in favor, say aye. Contrary, nay. Carried.
Continuing on, Your Worship, Resolution COS 20-84, moved by myself, Councillor McFeely, seconded by Councillor Curry-Adams. Whereas an application was initiated by the City of Summerside for demolition of 8 Summer Street, the Cook Insurance Building, PID number 309682. And whereas under Section 22.15 of the zoning bylaw, when a building permit with the intent for demolition is received regarding buildings in downtown District 1 zone or in downtown District 4 zone, the Heritage Planning Board and Council shall review the applications. And whereas under Section 3.3 of the Heritage Conservation Bylaw, the Heritage Planning Board shall make a recommendation to Council on heritage conservation issues. Be resolved that the building permit application for demolition of 8 Summer Street, Cook Insurance Building, PID number 309682, be recommended to be approved by Council, and this bears the recommendation of the Heritage Planning Board meeting on August 4th, 2020, Your Worship.
Moved by Councillor McFeely and seconded by Councillor Adams. You've all heard the resolution, the motion. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Contrary, nay. Carried. You still have the floor, sir.
We'll continue on. Resolution COS 20-085, moved by myself, Councillor McFeely, seconded by Councillor Curry-Adams. Whereas an application was initiated by the City of Summerside for demolition of 285 Water Street, the Royal Bank Purple Parrot Building, PID number 309708. And whereas under Section 22.15 of the zoning bylaw, when a building permit with the intent for demolition is received regarding buildings in downtown District 1 zone or in downtown District 4 zone, the Heritage Planning Board and Council shall review the applications. And whereas under 3.3 of the Heritage Conservation Bylaw, the Heritage Planning Board shall make a recommendation to Council on heritage conservation issues. Be it resolved that the building permit application for demolition of 285 Water Street, the Royal Bank Purple Parrot Building, PID number 309708, be recommended to be approved by Council, and that the City make efforts to explore options to preserve the building's facade if possible. And this bears the recommendation of the Heritage Planning Board meeting on August 4th, 2020.
Moved
And
by, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, and I know, Your Worship, that staff are doing the due diligence on the building, and as well as the next one we're going to do here to see what can be saved there and move forward. So we thank you.
Moved by Councillor McFeely and seconded by Councillor Adams. Any questions on the resolution?
Just a comment.
Councillor or Deputy Mayor McCollum.
I also did want to echo what you have made the comments on, Councillor McFeely, that I know Council has been informed of the different work that staff have been doing to check on those properties, and I know that Council really appreciates that information and the work of Natalie on the committee bringing that to us as well. Thanks.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye. Contrary, nay. Carried. I believe you still have the floor, sir.
Yeah, one more, Your Worship, here. Resolution COS 20-086, moved by myself, Councillor McFeely, seconded by Councillor Kerry Adams, whereas an application was initiated by the City of Summerside for the demolition of 4 Summer Street, the Crockett-Gallant building, PID number 309690, and whereas under section 22.15 of the zoning bylaw, when a building permit with the intent for demolition is received regarding buildings in downtown District 1 zone or downtown District 4 zone, the Heritage Planning Board and Council shall review the applications. And whereas under 3.3 of the Heritage Conservation Bylaw, the Heritage Planning Board shall make a recommendation to Council on heritage conservation issues. Be it resolved that the building permit application for demolition of 4 Summer Street Crockett Gallant building, PID number 309690, be recommended to be approved by Council, and that City make efforts to explore options to preserve the building facade if possible. And this bears the recommendation of the Heritage Planning Board meeting of August 4th, 2020, Your Worship.
Moved by Councillor McFeely and seconded by Councillor Adams. You've all heard the resolution. Any questions? I do not see any question lights on. All in favour say aye. Aye. Contrary nay. Carried. So you're not quite finished yet.
No, continue.
I believe you have economic development report.
We'll move on with the economic development report, Your Worship. We're going to have to split these up in the future or something. Thank you, Your Worship, and I certainly want to give a shout out to Director Mike Tuska and his able partner Neil Moore for their efforts in the economic development department. There's a lot going on. Much of it that can't come into the public forum yet, but there's a lot of stuff happening in the background. So the office has been kind of operating on all cylinders throughout the summer, and look forward to continuing down the road. So client inquiries. Over the course of the last 6 weeks, client inquiries have risen dramatically from both existing businesses looking at future opportunities, as well as from our immigrant clients now looking to land and establish in Summerside. This in turn is leading to a significant increase in the demand for quality office and industrial space, as well as demand for residential accommodations. The office continues to provide advice on all things related to business expansion, labor force fulfillment, as well as general community integration. In partnership with our local business community, the Office of Economic Development has set up a system to engage and support these inquiries in a timely and professional manner. And I think one of the exciting things in the last few days, on late Friday afternoon, I believe Director Mike was informed that iOS was creating 150 new positions in Summerside. So that's good news. Those 150 people, 150 jobs there, those people will be integrating into our community and buying houses and so on and so forth. So we're excited about that. Updating our website. In the coming months, you will see some vast improvements to the city's economic development web pages, including the addition of a new set of demographic tools using cutting-edge technology to give our clients and prospects the information they need in a way they need it to make key business and investment decisions in Summerside. These set of new tools will allow the department to help promote and support businesses through our online platform found at www.bigpossibilities.ca. The business directory, our requests for quotes on updating our business directory have been completed. The staff are currently evaluating the bidders. This work represents the first major overhaul of our business intelligence data in over 6 years. It's not only a great marketing tool for local businesses to promote themselves, but also used as an internal planning and support tool. Economic development networking. The department's efforts to support local business in all aspects of operation continue to increase. And over the past several months, the office has been working with local businesses looking to transition their operations, helping property owners meet the influx of demand for commercial industrial space, as well as host of other economic development opportunities. The Summerside Accelerator Program, the office is moving forward to reshape the entrepreneurial landscape in Summerside, and to that end is working with a local consultant to finalize the programming details for a new business accelerator program in Summerside. Initially coined the Summerside Exchange, Summerside Economic Development realizes the shortcomings of our entrepreneurial services in Summerside, and to that end is taking a lead to create a better, more structured and program use of current local resources and infrastructure, like the Living Lab. The exchange will allow Summerside to utilize local resources and attract technologies and capital from abroad as well, which in return will create more jobs, new companies, and investment in key infrastructure in the city. In the coming months or two, the office will be formally presenting this new concept along with some very exciting partnerships in the entrepreneurship program. Our core block project in Granville Street, I wanted to refer to a couple of projects recently announced by this council, being the core block properties downtown and the former Holland College site on Granville Street. These projects are being worked on by staff and council along with our partners to further advance our community. While we know things may not be happening fast enough for some, these projects are complicated and take time to bring to fruition. But I want the public to know that these two projects are a top priority for this council. In regard to the core block properties, we passed some motions there today. We are prepared to start moving towards the next phase of this project, preparing the site for future significant developments in 2021. And as we confirm details from our discussions, we will have more fulsome information to share with the public. But as I know many can appreciate, putting all the pieces together does take time, but we are moving forward. In regards to the former Holland College property, we are in final discussions about a redevelopment plan being led by the private sector, where the city can play an active role in supporting the development concepts being proposed. Again, as things progress, we will be updating residents about this project. And that, Your Worship, is the report for the month, and certainly open to questions.
Thank you. I believe we've got two lights on, and I think Councillor Campbell may have been first.
I've been listening. I had several of my people in my ward ask me there was something on Compass, but was losing another physician. What's our plans now with this COVID-19? Where are we going as far as, you know, you can't travel like we used to and things like that with doctor retention, because we've lost several, I think, in the last half year or so. Do we have any plans for
doctors? I couldn't hear what, yeah. I know that the office continues to have discussions with Health PEI about doctors and about delivery of healthcare systems in Summerside, looking at a more diverse delivery of healthcare in the Summerside area. So I know those discussions are ongoing. Specific information about doctor recruitment I don't have at this time.
Thank you. I believe then Deputy Mayor, I think.
Okay.
Sorry, I got Deputy Mayor and then Councillor Snow and Councillor Adams.
Okay, thank you, Your Worship. Councillor McFeely, just thank you for your report, and I'm very pleased about the economic development networking. I know that there are a number of different local businesses, but one question that all councillors, I believe, do continue to hear is a real need for a grocery store in the downtown core. So I know we're hoping that with some of the established residential apartments that will open, I'm just wondering, have you heard anything on that, or any comments?
But I think that speaks to the essence of bringing more people downtown, either living and working downtown. And you know, we have one apartment building that's getting close to being complete. We have others in the planning phase. Certainly, when we have, you know, a few hundred people living downtown, then the private sector will respond to that, and somebody will step forward the service that those folks will need. It's a great opportunity for somebody to step forward and open up a grocery store in the downtown area. Don't see that as a public sector initiative, but certainly a great opportunity for somebody in the private sector to step up.
Okay, Councillor Snow.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, to Councillor McColman's point, it's something I definitely hear lots about, is a need for a grocery store in the downtown. Lots of constituents of mine ask that very question. So and I agree totally with you that you know, bringing people to downtown core will, you know, sort of push that along, hopefully. So the other thing I want to note is there currently still is a motion being tabled regarding the Holland College building, and we're leaving that tabled until we get to that point where we have a satisfactory MOU. I might be one of those ones that would like it to move a lot faster than it is, but like many people in the community, it's taken many years to get to where we're at, unfortunately, and I'm hearing that this is the most progress we've had in all the years that it's been talked about. So that's very fortunate, and hoping that we can get this over the finish line, and all the parties can come together to have a great plan for that area, because it's much needed.
Okay, and then Councillor Adams.
Just wondering, first of all, I wanted to thank Mike and Neil. I know that you have a lot going on, so appreciate all your work on everything. The thing that was brought to me by a couple business owners in the city is the eco park. Wondering what the makeup was going to be for that. Like, I guess they just sort of wanted a clarification if the city is going to be putting up the buildings and then the renters are responsible for the fit up as it would suit them, or is it going to be sort of a mixed bag of different setups within the park?
I think where we rest at the moment is that they're kind of moving forward in design of the first building. I think it'll be a mix of rental opportunities and ownership opportunities. It'll be some similar to the IOS building, where the city owns the building and they rent it, and you know, that's been a tremendous success. I mean, basically in 5 years the building's paid for, and it's an asset now. That so there's those opportunities. But you know, Director Mike, I don't know if there's other information there. I know you're in design phase and buildings.
There it is. Sorry. Thank you. Thank you for the question. Probably more next month we'll be coming out with a full package on the eco park, but right now we as a municipality are looking at constructing the first building. We're in discussions with several advanced manufacturing companies. But there is going to be a system, a process, a structure, and within the next month we'll get that out to the public.
Perfect.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, anybody who had asked, I just sort of referred them to you.
Absolutely, yeah.
Anyway,
Yep.
so, but I just thought that in case there's more people asking, we could just get it out there. That's great. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you still have the floor there, Councillor McPhail?
I have one more resolution, Your Worship, and then I shall sit down. Moved by myself, Councillor McFeely, resolution number COS 20-018, seconded by Councillor Kerry Adams. Whereas the City of Summerside issued a request for proposals for a transit feasibility study and operational model, and whereas 6 proposal submissions were received and scored as follows: CBCL 81, Dillon 90, Left Turn, Right Turn 78, Stantec 79, Transit Consulting Network 71, RSP 81. Be it resolved that Council authorizes awarding the provision of a transit feasibility study and operational model to Dillon Consulting Limited in the amount of $25,624 plus HST. And this bears the recommendation of the Economic Development Committee meeting on August 4th, 2020, Your Worship.
Moved by Councillor McFeely and seconded by Councillor Adams. Any questions?
Oh, my apologies, Your Worship. I couldn't I couldn't read the writing there. It was actually, it's moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Durand.
Okay, thank you. Just in regards, just in my, back of my own mind, are there any federal dollars for these transportation studies available for this?
I don't know, Rob. CEO, is there any federal dollars available for these transportation studies?
That's something that we're currently exploring right now, Councillor. I know that there has been a lot of discussion over the last few months about how the Government of Canada wants to try to direct more dollars towards new transit systems. What we're looking at is currently an assessment of our own system right now, but we're waiting to hear back from the Government of Canada as to whether they may partake as a partner in funding this particular study.
Thank you. I guess we all have our opinions in regards to studies. I think that's been mentioned a number of times, but just the Reader's Digest version here, maybe through Mike or somebody. What exactly are we looking for in this study? What information are we going after? I guess if the buses are not being filled with people or filled enough or enough riders, what kind of work will the study come up with? What kind of information? Are they going to tell us how to get more people in the bus? I guess.
Maybe, Your Worship, oh, sorry.
Trying to figure out the value for the $25,000 study. Maybe it will be worth it in the end, but
yeah, I guess, Your Worship, what we wanted from the proponent or the successful vendor was an opportunity to come in and assess the current state and operation of our transit service right now, and to provide some recommendations around what, in their opinion, would constitute an appropriate transit service for a community of 15,000 people, whether it would be a fixed schedule type of model or one that's on demand, because there are different types that are in operation across the country.
will they come in with something that's to speak against what we presently have? I mean, what could we expect in this report? Because we do give annually to a bus service company, and I'm just wondering what will be in the mix of the report. I'm just trying to see if that 25,000 and 26,000.
I think one of the challenges that we've had, Your Worship, with respect to our service, not so much the operation of it per se, but we've always talked internally about like what kind of value are we getting as a community, and really just in terms of like, what we've never really had the opportunity to really sit back and just take an objective look at our service as well, and really to find out, like, is it a proper fit for a community our size, and if so, that's great, and if not, what are some things that we could possibly be doing differently?
Councillor Snow?
Yeah, this is something that I had brought up months ago, and Councillor Durand and myself met with a local bus company and also our current bus company. They all have their probably opinions on what we should have in our city. That being said, they're trying to run a business and provide a service, and it's probably best if we're going to continue down the path of spending monthly for a service that we know we're getting what we should for our community, because every month there is a current expense. I know I've been here close to 2 years. I wouldn't have a clue what our ridership numbers are, which is unfortunate. We should have those numbers. We should know how many people are being serviced by something we are providing money into. So I think this just gives a clear look from the outside on what we should be doing. It's another perspective. We all have our opinions around the table, and each of the providers that we've talked to on the island have their opinions on what we need. So it gives that sort of extra insight into what we do have and what we should have, and I think that's probably an important process moving forward if we're going to continue down the road of this. So.
Thank you. Councillor Durand?
Yeah, just I guess to build on Councillor Snow's comments, with all due respect to the Economic Development Department, they're not our, a transit department. So I think maybe it's important that we ask, somebody that is involved with doing that kind of work to give us the advice on how to move forward. As it is right now, we're kind of relying on the transit company to tell us what we need. Whereas I think, like Councillor Snow said, we need a third party, unbiased point of view to tell us what we need, because we don't, correct me if I'm wrong, Director Mike, we don't have the, high level transit expertise in the city to tell us that sort of thing, so.
Thank you. Just to follow up, then I'll finish here. Because from what Councillor Snow said, the company that we pay every month now, they do not provide us with ridership numbers?
I don't believe so on a regular basis. Just,
Go ahead.
just to build on Councillor Durand's point, we really don't have that transit expertise in the city at all, so this will allow us to access some of that expertise. We presently pay, a little more than $21,000 a year into transit, so the amount of this study is basically 1 year's, a little more than 1 year's allocation. I've been here 6 years now. Basically, we've had the same transit system. We really probably haven't seen any increase in ridership. It continues on. I think it's important that we do have some kind of public transit in the city, but what's the best model? Yeah. So this will hopefully give us some direction in that from some expertise that we don't have. So.
But if we haven't seen the increase, that means, I guess that answers the question. Like, we haven't seen the numbers. Councillor Snow had mentioned. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Just again to make comments with other council members, I think the biggest thing that we did here in the former election 2 years ago is people are interested in ridership, but the two important things to them are consistency on routes, especially if they work at the tax center, if they work in a business where there could be shift work or whatnot, as well as some type of shelters when they have to wait in weather that's, not easy just to not have that shelter. So I think if it's independent, we will get that information. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, you have a resolution on the floor. Did you move the resolution yet? Moved by yourself and seconded by Councillor Durand. We didn't vote on it yet. You've all heard the resolution. All in favor say aye. Contrary nay. Motion carried. Thank you, Councillor McFeely. Okay, we'll move on to Police Service, Fire Emergency and Planning. And Councillor Ramsey, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, Your Worship and fellow councillors. First thing I'm going to start with is the resolution. It's COS 20-082, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Greg Campbell. Be it resolved, Appendix A of CS-25 Traffic and Parking Bylaw be amended so that the east side of Rufus Street between 11 Rufus Street to Notre Dame Street be designated as no parking. This has to be amended because it was supposed to be the whole of Rufus Street, not from 11, because the reason it was done is because the emergency vehicles couldn't get through. There's no difference in the size of the width of that street from 11 down to Notre Dame as opposed to Sunny's down to Notre Dame. So that would have to be amended somehow. I can make the amendment now, okay. So be amended so that the east side of Rufus Street, total of Rufus Street to Notre Dame Street, be from Water Street to Notre Dame Street be designated as no parking. So is that fine, Brian? You can make that
When you say total,
amendment.
both sides you mean?
No, just one side. So no parking on the east side, but from Notre Dame to Water.
So the one complete side.
The whole side, yeah.
So we'll have to have an amendment. So you'll move the amendment, and you're going to second it for the amendment?
Yeah.
Councillor Campbell. Okay,
Councillor Campbell.
fine.
Yeah, okay. So we'll move that.
Is it just 11 because the other
It,
3 were already designated as no parking?
well, the other 3, it was only in front of Felix's. There was 2 in front of Felix's. then there's another block. I just looked up 11, and 11 is just at, yeah, it's about halfway down. So, okay, so 11 shouldn't be in there, that's all. We can just take
So
that out.
everybody's in favor of the amendment?
Everybody in favor of that amendment?
Okay, so
Yeah.
go ahead with the motion then as amended.
Okay,
Did you say
so-
parking, no parking on the east side?
No parking on the east side. Yep, this bears the recommendation of Police Services, meeting August 4th.
So that's from Water Street to Notre Dame.
That's right. Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Ready for the-
Seems like this has been going on a long time, so another couple of days won't. Does that change that, Brian, or can that still happen? Okay,
All
all
in
right.
favor, say aye. Contrary, nay. Carried.
Thank you. Okay, great, thank you. So I'm going to July's police report. As a result of the ongoing pandemic, they continue to have meetings during the month with the province health and other police agencies on PEI conducted through the teleconferencing. Staff continue to respond to concerns from public health for self-isolation, etc. And in July, continue to assist the province on Tuesdays at the Confederation Bridge. No training for the month of July. They're continuing discussions with the province regarding doing some online training through the Atlantic Police Academy, but no in-person training maybe in September. That may happen for them. Deputy Chief Walker performed 2 assignments as aide-de-camp with Lieutenant Governor. There are no other additional community activities as a result of COVID-19. Occurrence statistics. The following is a list of some occurrences totaling July 2020. Calls for service were 723. Traffic accidents were 31. Reported crimes of assault and threats were 42. Theft reports were 20. Impaired driving offenses were 6. Highway traffic provincial charges were 98. Break-in and enter reports, business and residential, were 12. And drug enforcement charges were 5. From my point of view, council continue to receive phone calls and email complaints from residents regarding speeding, i.e. asking for speed bumps, more policing, more stop signs, crosswalks, the list goes on. Whatever we can do to slow drivers down. We are currently waiting for a traffic smoothing report from Director Gordon McFarlane, and looking forward to coming up with some solutions. Gordon, do you have any idea when that may be ready for presentation, or that? In September meeting? Okay, that's great.
Just for some
So
information.
we should, we should have that then by September, and I will open the floor now.
Just some information, you said you had some concerns from some of your citizens about intersection of Walker and Granville. And that's been one of my pet peeves, and I believe if you check, we put 140,000 in the budget to work on that intersection. And soon as it'll be started within the next month or so.
Great. Thank you. Great. Thank you. Councillor Court?
I'm curious, what, this highway traffic provincial charge is 98. How is that broke down into speeding, or what does that include speeding tickets? Does that include?
So that's a good question. I did send an email off to Police Services to see if I could have more of a breakdown on that, Councillor Snow. I haven't received that yet. But I believe that they're provincial charges. Mayor Stewart and I were just speaking about that. I believe it's speeding or anything that's not to do with our bylaws within the city of Summerside. Anything.
Under the Highway Traffic Act,
Right,
I would say.
yeah.
But Chief Poirier will clarify that for you.
When I remember having conversations either through email or talking with yourself or somebody, and it appeared there was a monthly number of speeding tickets issued, and when I seen them, I thought, wow, that's very low. When I seen the number of what we're actually issuing a month, especially given the number of complaints we're receiving. So
Right.
I think it was less than one a day, actually, to be
It was
quite honest.
23. It
and
was
that-
last month, and it was 23.
23. So when you put that against the reports and the complaints we're receiving, either the complaints are wrong or we're not doing enough traffic enforcement. So that's one concern. You can answer that, and then maybe I have another question as well as a follow-up on another issue.
No, again, I have an email out on that, and I'm waiting, and the other thing we're waiting for is Gordon's report, so we can move forward on what needs to take place, where we need to spend some money, and to get this problem resolved somewhat. I know it's not just Summerside that suffers with the traffic issues, but I think we could, as a community, could be doing a better job, and whether it's through education or whether it's through policing or whatever we can do to make it better, I think council has to take a real serious look at what we can do.
Okay, my second question would be along the lines, is there any update on the school resource officer? We're obviously getting ready to head back into school, and I can tell you from somebody that works in the system, that was a well-received position last year within the schools, within families, within the students. So if there's anything there.
Well, what I have there is we are meeting today on that as a council. The other thing I have heard from the Minister of Education, Brad Trivers, and he will be getting back to me. I let him know how much money we needed from the province and on Friday, and he sent me a note back and said he'd be back to me the beginning of this week to talk about that. Hopefully they still are on board with us because we've committed our money as a city. So hopefully the province will step forward, and but we should know more on that later this afternoon. And again, and I've been speaking with the principal of Three Oaks, and he's anxiously awaiting the return of the SRO for September. So that's what I know on that. You're welcome. Who was next? Councillor Brian?
No,
Yeah.
Just a comment on the speeding, and you know, I think what the public the message that they need to hear is that, you know, this council is committed to trying to deal with the prevalence of speeding in the city. That you know, we see the slow increase, particularly in the summer months. So, you know, they should be on guard, because I have noticed an increase in surveillance very recently in the city, and that efforts are being made to curtail speeding. So we are being much more vigilant, and the public should be aware of that. So thank you.
Thank you, Brian. And I think we are, but I still think I'm like last summer was the same thing. We got all the same complaints, and you know, I feel like I'm hearing all the same things again, and I just feel like we need to move faster. Summer's almost over, and anyway, we are vigilant, and we're trying to do what we can, and thank you, Brian. Yeah, exactly.
Councillor McCollum.
Drivers don't move faster, we move faster.
Deputy
Councillor
Mayor
McCollum.
Okay, just on the point about the speeding, I do want to thank Summerside Police Services, because I have received, you know, at different times, different streets that they're trying to monitor around the city, and they are definitely trying to monitor any speeders. Another thing that I know we've asked our residents, if at all possible, we're not asking them to be police officers, but if they are at a vantage point where they can see a license number and make and model of a car, that is really helpful, because sometimes the police cannot be in all places when it's happening, and we all know with speeding it happens pretty quick. So that's something that's important. And the other thing on the resource officer, I know some of the comments that I've heard from residents, people think that it's a really, you know, a very valuable service, but one of the comments that has come to me through several residents is that having a resource officer is really important, but a need to possibly, when you do speak with Minister Travers for education, the importance that a lot of the students, say for example coming into Three Oaks, that is taxpayers' dollars that go into provincial coffers. And that's why that need to have that provincial input is so important, because a lot of the students in the school are not just Summerside area. They're from other feeder schools that are coming into Three Oaks. So that would be certainly a very important, valuable point to make to the province, that it's their constituents that are taxpayers. So I think, you know, it's helping across the island, but it's helping many municipalities impacted in Prince County.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and I can assure you that I already let him know that. That was our conversation. That's how we got the money last year in the first place, is to let him know that it wasn't all Summerside residents, that it certainly involved the province, and they were more than willing, and I thank them for what they did last year, and I'm just keeping my fingers crossed that they come through again this year, and I'm sure they will. And thank you for that, and if there's no more questions, I'll move into fire report.
Go ahead.
Okay. All right, thank you. So fire services, there were 19 calls for services for the month of July, 5 medical first responder calls. They're being very busy with those calls, and that's something that's new to them, and I appreciate that, and thank you for that. 1 motor vehicle accident, 3 alarm panel calls, 2 electrical fires, 2 structural fires, 1 appliance fire, 2 carbon monoxide calls, and 3 cancel calls. During the month of July, firefighter training referred 44.5 hours. The fire department received the latest addition to its fleet, a Ford F-150 command vehicle. The new 4x4 will be equipped as an emergency vehicle that will be the first responding truck on most scenes. Our firefighters were very proud to escort Three Oaks graduating class of 2020 through the streets of Summerside in their ceremonial parade. Congratulations to all graduates. New standard operation guidelines continue to be researched and developed for the department. The finished results will be made available to members hopefully sometime in September. Training sessions to continue to grow as the easing of COVID-19 restrictions allow firefighters to do more with larger groups. And Chief Inman, Deputy Chief Blanchard, and myself toured the new Stratford Emergency Center. It was a very beautiful building. Congratulations to the residents of Stratford. I'm sure you will all have the opportunity to enjoy the facility. Summerside Fire Services are still waiting for our WSP engineering firm report. Hoping to have it any day now. We've talked a little bit about it today. I realize we're all anxiously waiting and look forward to hearing back from the firm in regards to whether we're going to renovate or a new build for our Summerside Fire Department. That is all I have for fire, unless someone has questions.
I like your comment that it's a report versus a study.
Yeah, it's a report. Anyway,
Could
we're
I have
hoping
just
we're
one
hoping to hear
question?
back soon. Yes.
Just a question, maybe I'll ask Councillor Duran, who knows this business in and out. What's a cancelled call? Is that they go to a scene and
Sometimes they don't even make it out of the hall, just if it's maybe an alarm's going off at a business or something, and we never know what it is, and the key holder or the owner would follow up really quickly and say,
Okay.
you know, don't worry, it's nothing.
Okay, that's what I
We
thought.
don't end up leaving to go to the call.
Thank you.
Great. And I just have an emergency measures report, if that's fine to
Go
read.
ahead.
Okay, so for the month of August, as most residents know, we are coming into the time of the year when the possibility of significant weather events such as hurricanes and post-tropical storms are most significant. This serves as a reminder to all residents that we need to be prepared to respond to whatever adverse events come our way. I want all residents to know that our efforts to ensure we are prepared to respond to any emergency continue on many fronts. We continue to dialogue with various community organizations to establish closer relationships and discuss ways in which we can work together collectively to protect our community. It is part of our commitment to ensure the safety of all of our residents and the broader community. This concludes my emergency measures report for the month of August. Thank you. Thank you, Rob, for that report.
Thank you, Councillor Ramsey. Do you have
And,
anything
yeah, are
further?
there any questions on that? We've been, Norma and I and Councillor Norma and myself and CAO Rob, we've been working pretty hard on our plan, and just look forward to coming back with a nice presentation to everyone in the near future. And that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Snow, you have a community services report.
I do, Your
The
Worship.
floor is yours.
Thank you. I'd like to start by thanking Director JP, who compiled the report. The Community Services Department operated under Phase 4 of the Renew PEI Together platform for the month of July. Things kicked off with a Canada Day celebration on July 1st. As one can expect, the Canada Day celebrations and civic ceremony looked much different than previous years. Canada Day kicked off with an indoor reception at Credit Union Place, followed by the civic ceremony that was held outside the main entrance of Credit Union Place. Each of these were limited to 50 people as per restrictions and guidelines put forth by the Chief Public Health Office. Given the ceremony by invitation only, it was live streamed on YouTube for the public to view. Rotary Park played host to Cycling PEI's second race of the year, the Summerside Muck Racker. The event saw over 60 participants of various different skill levels riding the mountain bike trails at Rotary Park. Summer fun at Leisure Park continued, offering residents a variety of outdoor programming throughout the summer months, such as lawn games, kayaking and paddleboarding, fat biking, disc golf, arts and crafts, relay races, and much more. Included in the summer fun is also the splash pad at Leisure Park and the water mushroom at Billy Burgess Park. Similar to Canada Day, the Governor's Plate took place in July in accordance with the guidance from the Chief Public Health Office. A reception was held indoors at Credit Union Place prior to the main event outside at the Summerside Raceway. Due to max capacity restrictions, the event was closed to the public but available online for public viewing. New dates for events that were scheduled for 2020 continued to be announced. The World Under-17 Hockey Challenge will now take place from November 7th to 14th, 2021 in Summerside. The Veterans Convention Center began taking bookings again and had 15 reservations throughout the month of July. As one might imagine, these bookings look quite different than they used to with social distancing and exit and entry protocols. As July came to a close, staff were busy putting the ice in the ice pad in preparation for Tenacity Hockey. In the month of August, due to the high demand, Tenacity Hockey expanded operations this year by adding in a third week of hockey school. Staff continue to work and plan for the days ahead to ensure all facilities and amenities are operating in accordance to plans provided by the Chief Public Health Office. Also to note, I think we had some internal discussions there through email that there was a report that came out through CBC regarding the Islanders and possibly coming to play in Summerside. The first I heard of it was when I seen the email. There was nothing from our standpoint, and I don't know the reasoning behind it, but anyway, just to let everybody know, we're fully behind our Junior A hockey team here in Summerside, and look forward to whatever this season might look like. Also, I've seen lots of posts from Billy Bridges, coach of the Caps and his Tenacity Hockey. Billy McGuigan, sorry, and Tenacity Hockey, and they seem to be having a great week there. The kids are out in the ice having lots of fun. And lastly, just thank JP and all his staff, because this is a crazy time for all of us, but especially when you're in the events business and running public facilities and trying to keep everything in line with the Chief Public Health Office. So just thank you to him and all his great staff, because they've done a great job during this.
And I think we all know the strategy behind that room
we
where
can speculate for sure.
For a few
yeah.
hours. Do you have anything further?
No, just questions if there's anything. And
I believe Councillor Campbell has a question, then Councillor Adams.
Just a comment, my grandson is at the hockey school, and I think they're sold out.
Yeah,
They're filled up, so that's great.
yeah, no, they had added an extra week, and from all reports, they're busy and going well. Councillor Adams?
I just wanted to also thank Community Services staff and any city staff that had a hand in helping out Tyne Valley in the rally for the Valley with Hockeyville 2020. Didn't go how we wanted it to, but not that the effort wasn't there from everybody to try and help them out, but I know community services staff really came on and tried to do a few different things to help them out, whether it be the internet that they were having some trouble with and so on. So, you know, big shout out, because, you know, they have a lot of other stuff going on that they're trying to plan for, so they were more than willing to jump on board with that, so I was appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure, our department worked alongside with them, and that's great, but huge congratulations to the Rally for the Valley committee, because they put a ton of effort into that. I know a lot of them personally, and their hearts are fully into that, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the facility up there is going to look like once it's completed, because there's no way that it's not going to be top notch. They're a great community, so.
Yes, we certainly pass on congratulations, and I know everybody I talked to in the Summerside area were voting, and I know my trifocals, I had to get adjusted a number of times for the number of votes we tried to get in, but we congratulate Tyne Valley for their effort, and also by making the top 4, they get $25,000, so congratulations on that too.
They get 25, and then they get 10 for something else, to equipment, so it ends
Good.
up being 35.
Yeah, by making the top 4, that was
Top 4, so.
they were certainly a great effort there, and and I think there's still plans in the air for our city of Summerside to do something here as a fundraiser.
Yeah.
So Councillor Ramsey just stepped out, but she's sort of heading that up. But there will be a fundraiser planned to assist in the Tyne Valley rink. No, I was going to say renovation to the new building.
Yeah.
So the dates and times of that fundraiser will be announced whenever it's arranged. Councillor Ramsey, we're just talking about the fundraiser that will be planned for Tyne Valley whenever we can get the dates and times sorted out.
Absolutely.
And
Let's look forward to that.
Yeah, we're just passing on congratulations on making the top 4, which gave them 25 plus maybe 10,000, 25,000, and another 10,000 for equipment. So it was a great effort, but obviously with the population of Newfoundland of nearly 500,000 or 600,000 versus little old PEI, you know, and we pass on congratulations to the winners.
To Twillingate, they definitely had a great story on there as well.
But Tyne Valley did great to make the top 4, and so.
So they'd certainly be able to use the money from a fundraiser at Summerside.
No question.
So hopefully we can get that done.
So we'll
Thank you,
have to
Worship.
Have to get the guitars tuned up.
We'll get the guitar.
Okay, anything, questions for Councillor Snow? Okay, we'll continue on. Councillor Adams, the floor is yours. You got human resources and bylaws. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. We'll start it with HR and Legal Affairs. The Joint Occupational Health and Safety Committee, as well as department subcommittees, continue to meet on a regular basis. The department is working very closely with municipal services regarding occupational health and safety program review. The completion for line distribution supervisor is underway. The competition for the line distribution supervisor is underway. Staff are continuing to develop health and wellness initiatives for employees. You watch, Ashley usually has emails coming out to all staff on that. Applications are currently being accepted for part-time lifeguards, swim instructors, front desk and bowling attendants at Credit Union Place. So those are all online. And that's it for HR and Legal Affairs. If anybody has any questions. If not, I'll keep going right into the culture portion. The following report captures some highlights of Culture Summerside's activity from mid-July to mid-August time period. After receiving permission from PI Public Health, Canadian Heritage, Wyatt Heritage Properties Inc. and Culture Summerside, everybody moved quickly to organize a revised 2020 Summerside Arts Festival on the established dates of July 20th through the 22nd. Though it was an intense planning and execution time frame, the final product and the response it brought from community was well worth the effort. Gone were the interactive art, musician demonstrations, and performances on downtown historic Water Street. Refresh, as it was called, was 7 sculptures created by local artists using recycled materials. They stood alone on the street for people following social distancing practices to walk or drive by. They evoked great conversation. Prince Street was blocked off for 3 days to feature the drive-through art exhibit that was launched in 2019 and worked perfectly for 2020. Original works by 14 artists were reproduced on 4x6 panels and displayed on the street. Artists, artisans, and musicians were placed in among the paintings to demonstrate and perform. People drove and walked the street, taking in the sights and sounds of the Summerside arts community. Inside the Lafergie Cultural Center were the work of 60 artists. These works will remain in place until the end of August. 5 workshops on doll making, rug hooking, writing, basket weaving, and watercolor painting were held at the Uptech Cultural Center and met all requirements around social distancing. The revised program allowed for the celebration of arts in our community and was greatly appreciated by those in attendance. Many expressed their thanks that the festival had gone ahead at a time when they greatly needed an uplift. One participant said it felt like being in Paris. The weather was perfect and the setting inspiring. I just want to follow up on that I had received a few comments when the outdoor concerts were canceled, as well as some families were disappointed that there wasn't more programming for children. As was mentioned, it was done on a quick turnaround, but we really want to look at getting more for families in programming for the future. If hopefully we don't have to have COVID regulations in some place next summer, but if so, as they lost their fare, their pinch penny fare and so on, so we have to look at making sure that we keep our young people interested in culture. Wyatt Heritage Properties Inc. thanks Canada Heritage and the City of Summerside for making festivals such as the Summerside Arts Festival a reality. Our museums remain open for this summer by appointment, and the renovation of the Summerside Armories are ongoing. The ground around the basement foundation has been excavated and proper weeping tile, gravel, and dimple board applied to mitigate future water issues in the basement. Much work has taken place inside, and the roofing materials are scheduled to be replaced in the coming weeks. So any questions or comments on the culture? What? We just got an emergency alert. Public are asked to help find a missing 12-year-old female last seen in the city of Summerside, traveling east on in a vehicle traveling east on Walker Avenue from Granville Street toward McEwen Road. And if anybody has any questions, of course, you can call 911 or 432-1201, and they'll be able to get your message passed forward to the authorities.
Description maybe of the car too, Carrie.
Do you have it?
Vehicle is described as a black sports car with silver trim and a spoiler on the back. The vehicle is described as a black sports car with silver trim and a spoiler on the back.
Okay. So we'll just read it from the beginning. Summerside Police Services is looking for public assistance locating persons involved in a possible abduction just before noon today. At 11:58, police received a call from a witness reporting that they had seen a vehicle traveling east on Walker Avenue from Granville Street toward McEwen with a young female yelling out the window that she had been kidnapped. The vehicle is described as a black sports car, silver trim, spoiler on the back. Female is described as a dark-skinned female with dark hair who appeared to be approximately 12 years of age. The driver of the vehicle is described as an adult male with tanned or darker skin, balding with short hair, wearing sunglasses or glasses and a beige-colored shirt. Anyone with any information is asked to call police immediately. Okay, so.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No,
Yeah,
go ahead.
Did you want to?
I just wanted to, I can wait till you finish.
No, no.
I just wanted to mention and thank Manager Lori Ellis for the efforts that she made. We did receive some contact with regards to drawings and the work that was ongoing at the armories. And she's so level-headed and calm. She knew, you know, immediately got back through CA Rob, and she did a great job. So that was good to alleviate some of the panic that was there.
Yeah, yeah, so what happened there was when they were doing some demolition, they came across some, it wouldn't be a drawing, more of a light sketch on some plaster. They stopped the work immediately. They took proper pictures, had somebody come in that could take the adequate pictures for them to be redone again, because what was there wasn't salvageable, not because of the demolition, but just because of the state of the material that it had been done on. So anyways, she's looking after getting all that redone. So if there's any more questions, I'll go into bylaw, policy, and review. As highlighted in my last report, BPR committee has discussed proposed amendments to the taxi bylaw, and it recently presented these proposed changes to industry representatives to seek their feedback. Having heard from the industry on these changes, we will bring the revised bylaw back to council at its September meeting to review and possibly adopt these changes. We would also like to extend our thanks and appreciation to the industry operators for their engagement and input into the review process. Special thanks to our Deputy CAO for leading the legislative review and consultation process. Okay. Ongoing policy work. The next area of focus is the topic of short-term property rentals and how it is impacting the availability of housing in general. We are researching this issue and will have further details to share with council in the coming weeks. Of note as well is that the city will start to work on a model for services to seniors, which follows up on a commitment made by council earlier this year. We are looking forward to engaging the community as this new model takes shape. And that's it from me, Your Worship. Any questions?
Yeah.
I guess the
Go
only
ahead.
question I would have would be around the timing of doing a review of our short-term rentals. Is it really relevant at this time? You know, are we going to get a real good feel of the effect it has on our community during COVID and the lack of?
I guess more it was we were going to get together to see what our new next steps should be, because like you mentioned, this wouldn't be a good taste of what we're usually seeing, because right now if people aren't renting out Airbnbs and so on like they usually would, they're moving into like year leases and so on. So it might not be the best time, but I think that's more what we were going to get together to discuss to see. I know I've had companies contact me about, you know, surveying people and how to go about it and stuff, and it was like, well, it's not really the best time because it's what we're going through right now in the rental and accommodations market is sort of off. But CEO Rob, do you have anything?
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Adams. Madam Chair. I think the purpose of what we were hoping to do, Councillor Snow, was just to have a discussion with the Bylaw Policy and Review Committee, just present the results of some research that we've done on how other jurisdictions are simply handling the issue, not necessarily trying to determine whether it's an issue here in Summerside or not, and just whether BPR committee feels that this is policy direction that we may want to follow up on. That's basically it.
And yeah, that'd be another point. I guess Charlottetown just went through theirs. Is there a way we can shorten the process? We've talked about studies galore. Is there stuff we can, lack of a better word, steal from other municipalities that they're doing that seems to be effective? But thanks.
Right, thank you.
Just a question through you, Madam Chair. Councillor Adams, I guess when the meetings with the taxi companies, I'm just wondering, was there any discussion about the study that we're doing for transportation on the buses? Or the bus firm, WSP, I believe it is, that was given the contract for the, was it called a study or a report? Whatever. But anyway, I'm just wondering, are they doing any consideration in regards to taxi regulations that we're looking at, or is it going to be completely separate, or are they taking into consideration? I wonder if it will affect to the negative the taxi companies or to the positive or anything like that. I'm just wondering,
So
since we're doing a transportation study, is it just strictly on the bus situation.
So you're wondering what WSP is going to be looking at? Will they be looking at how the taxis could impact this as well?
It's Dylan, not WSP.
Oh, sorry,
Sorry,
Dylan.
Dylan. Sorry, Dylan,
Yes.
yeah. Mr. Dylan.
Yeah,
Sierra,
I think the intent was possibly to keep those two separate, I think. I don't think there was really any consideration to have the taxi industry necessarily, I guess, integrated into this review on the transit system. Sorry about that.
I'm just wondering, though, if, what would happen if they made a recommendation in this Dillon report that could really affect the taxi industry to the negative. So I think we have to keep an open mind as that report comes in to see what it will recommend. Thank you. Do you have anything further at this time? Okay.
I just have
Go ahead.
I have something to say with that emergency reading there throughout Carrie's report. I'm very concerned if that happened in our little city here of Summerside, like just, praying that everything works out well and just putting it out there for people to contact the police as soon as possible if you know anything on this incident. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further? If not, we'll continue on with Municipal Services Report, and Councillor McDougall is unable to be with us, and I believe the co-chair is Councillor Drawn? Who's the co-chair of Municipal Services? Oh. Sorry, he did say in his note to me that he wouldn't be here, but he said he'd get the co-chair to, so maybe.
Fine, I'll do that
I'm not
for
sure,
him.
maybe I was supposed to have let you know, but.
No, that's okay.
Okay.
That's all right. So the monthly, I'll handle it. Yeah, I better stand up here. So the monthly report for municipal services for the month of July, annual lift station servicing was completed at Euston Street, Northumberland Street, and Reed's Corner. UV disinfection system lighting lamps at Lagoon were replaced. New servicing was completed for Rufus Street developments for water and sewer. Water taps for capital works on McEwen Road, Cedar Street, Notre Dame Street, Belmont Street, Spruce Drive developments are being performed by request to facilitate the capital upgrade and servicing. Public Works are repairing catch basins this month and next. The street sweeper, did we want to talk about that? The street sweeper has been repaired and is back on the road doing cleaning runs.
Good.
I personally haven't seen it. Has anyone seen that? Okay, how's it looking? Great. Oh, awesome, awesome. It's not a sandstorm. Okay, great. Oh, good to know, good to know. Traffic line painting has turned attention to the parking spaces and some larger sections yet to be finished for stop bars and arrows. Timing to be coordinated with construction. Driveway culvert repairs are progressing with 9 left to do out of 30 identified to be progressed this month. Public Works has continued its sign repairs throughout the city, stop signs, street signs, etc. Annual fire hydrant painting has begun and will continue into the summer, approximately 634 in the city. Several runs were completed in cleaning up the downtown after runs of barges delivery. And general operation statistics, water and sewer utility. 24 water samples were taken with a clear of bacteria, 12 chlorination samples taken all within perimeters, 3 water turn on and offs for the month. 1 water main valve was repaired this month. 1 sewer video was performed this month. 5 sewer calls this month. Sewer effluent to harbor, all within regulated perimeters. 24,811 cubic meters treated. 192,902 gallons of septic received for the plant from the outlying areas servicing the county, not the country, the county, and 429 tons of biofertilizer were created this month on the sewage treatment plant. And that is Municipal Services Report for the month of July. And if you have any questions, could you wait till Bruce gets back? The only thing I can talk about is the street sweeper. And I haven't seen it. Oh, dear.
Okay, thank you. I do not see any questions, so they'll be waiting for Bruce maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll continue on with the agenda. Councillor Campbell, how are things in the electrical? Lots of wind, or is it too calm?
It's too calm. Wait till you hear this. I got a few highlights here. The one was, we're up at the French School Edition. We done the Polk Road housing development, the Route 2 wiring upgrade from Sherwood Mechanical to Central Street. Worked at the Eco Park development and the new substation transformer project. The renovations are completed at 94 Ottawa Street. If anyone would like to stop down, more than willing to do so. Leisure Park street lighting by the Splash Park was repaired. Harmony site lighting, the Armory. The site lighting was reconnected and installed. We get new LED lighting at the ballparks. And here's the sad part, Your Worship. Electricity came from the wind in July of this month was the lowest I've read. I think it was 22%. So it wasn't only hot and dry, but there wasn't much wind. And sometimes, so you catch it on a certain month and start date and finish date, same as a light bill, I guess. Generator run hours were 7.8. 8 new electric customers energized this month. 1 electrical service upgrade. 6 customer outage events for the month. 4 underground locates were performed this month. And 6 heat for less appliances were installed and commissioned. That, Your Worship, is my report.
Thank you, Councillor Campbell. Any questions for the Chair? The Deputy Mayor, you have a question?
Not so much a question, but Councillor Campbell. I just wanted to mention that Pauline Dicey does a great job keeping us informed when there's outages. Very organized and very, very timely when we get that information, and I know our residents really appreciate it. So if you could pass that on to her.
Yeah, I should mention too that on August the 21st, from 12 a.m. to 5 a.m., there's going to be an outage in certain parts of the city. There'll be more information coming out on that.
Councillor Snow.
I have a question sort of goes in line with Councillor McColman's and your statement now. We received a report today, or a notice today from Pauline saying there was going to be a power outage tonight. They're doing it from 6 to 9. Is there a reason why that's not being done in the time frame of, say, the 12 to 5 a.m. as opposed to 6 to 9? It would be that just like I know it said an emergency power outing, but they're waiting till 6. So how much of an emergency is it, and how much is that going to affect residents as opposed to after midnight for a few hours? I guess that'd be my question.
That is the prime time of usage.
At
Yeah.
6 to 9.
Yeah,
That's where we're gonna receive a lot of complaints, right?
I did have 2 messages when it came out there this morning, and one was like somebody was saying they were already at work when it came out, so they had not made arrangements for their family of, they have quite a few kids and supper and so on, and it was, like you say, Greg, it is the prime time for power. So anyways, they were curious too as to why it was an emergency but left till 6, I guess, was sort of what they were wondering. So yeah.
Okay, we've gotten to the end of the open agenda. I see there's a couple items for the Committee of the Whole. So I guess if there are no further questions, is there a motion to adjourn? Moved by Councillor Ramsey and seconded by Councillor Adams. All in favour?